One day I visited an old city, and one question kept running through my mind. Why do I feel so much better here? Modern humans love their intellect and believe they can do everything through rational thought alone. But thinking isn't always enough. In fact, an animal we assume doesn't think might build a city far better than we ever could. We live in the most advanced era, don't we? We have planes that break the sound barrier and cars with heated seats. Yet the buildings and cities we construct for ourselves to live in often fall short. Even the so-called best modern cities, with their straight roads and repetitive structures, are boring or outright ugly. Meanwhile, the cities built by so-called primitive people are much more beautiful. How do I know? Because almost all tourism revolves around visiting those kinds of places. Criticizing modern cities has almost become a cliché these days. But here is what I have noticed. Those who claim to have solutions for improving modern cities often approach the problem in a modern way. They act as if building a beautiful city is straightforward and formulaic. Another proposes mixing modern and traditional styles. Some focus on road widths, while others talk about the scale of public squares. But is creating a beautiful city really that simple or calculable? Doesn't it seem odd that the way thousands of people will live can be decided by a single urban planner or a group of architects? Is it really right for someone else to dictate how we should live? I can almost hear you saying, but someone has to set the rules. If that's the case, then why aren't we the ones setting the rules? A city isn't a simple entity that a single architect can dictate. It's incredibly complex. Those admired old cities weren't planned all at once. They evolved over time. Each part of the city emerged as a result of the social norms and unwritten rules developed by the people living there. Problems began when planning entered the picture. Take Baghdad as an example. Founded in 766, it was built according to a circular plan. In many ways, it was an early experiment in modern urban design. Everything from the walls to the roads was pre-planned. But this approach didn't endure in the Islamic world. The reason? The city's rigid design stifled innovation and adaptability. So, large-scale urban planning isn't a modern invention. It has historical precedents. Even the Prophet of Islam, Prophet Muhammad, who offered guidance on almost every aspect of life, didn't leave detailed instructions for city planning. Instead, he focused on things like neighborly relations, the rights of humans, animals, and plants. He wasn't in favor of dominating people. For instance, one shouldn't block a neighbor's sunlight, should respect their privacy, avoid occupying excess space unnecessarily, and perhaps even contribute to the community, for example, by building a small awning to provide shade or shelter. This is what we call urban ethics. People should have the right to decide their own living spaces. There is no need for a ruler or institutional power to force this. Looking at the characteristics of Islamic cities, we see that residential areas and marketplaces are often distinct. The marketplace typically includes state institutions and a large mosque, or rather, the market clusters around the central mosque. This makes the center more open to intentional design. Another hallmark of Islamic cities is houses with gardens and courtyards. These homes are shaped by factors like topography, climate, neighborly relationships, and roads, often creating winding streets. This reflects community-centered urbanization. It's clear that simply making buildings look old-fashioned or deciding on specific dimensions won't make a city beautiful. Appearance is just that, appearance. Basic mathematical figures are superficial for something as complex as a city. What matters is ethics. A city is a reflection of its society. An environmentally conscious community won't use harmful materials. A family that knows its rights and understands its needs will demand a home that suits them, not one built by a giant developer solely for profit. A person who cares about their neighbors will act with consideration. Does this all sound overly romantic to you? But aren't the cities we admire romantic too?